And welcome everybody today to another edition of Rugged Outdoors Guide here on YouTube. Today, guys, we're going to talk about the parts of a paddle. Now, why would you want to know the parts of a paddle? What difference does it make in your life? Well, it's kind of nice to know if you're talking to other people about your passion of canoeing. Maybe it's just a casual hobby, but in any case, you just want to sound like you kind of know what you're talking about. So it's always good to know, just like canoe parts. You kind of don't want to talk to people about canoeing when they're referring to different parts like your thwart or your gunnels or the starboard or the port side of your canoe, and you're just kind of smiling politely and nodding. All right, you kind of want to know what you're talking about. And so to that end, I want to tell you what the parts of a canoe paddle are, so you kind of know what you're talking about. And if you need to ever get it fixed at a shop or something, you can speak about it intelligently. All right, so it's just a real quick video. And so here are the parts and kind of a couple things you need to know about them. First thing is, starting at the top, it's the grip. Okay, it's where one of your hands is gonna grab, all right? The next part right here is the shaft, the long thin part. And then at the bottom of the shaft, still part of the shaft, right here where your other hand is called the throat. And then right after the throat, you have this tapering of the blade where it starts to become the blade, and that is called the shoulder, or the shoulders on both sides, right? Just like our shoulders, makes sense where it is, right? Shoulders. Then you've got the blade itself, and then right at the bottom of the blade, right here, you have the tip. All right, now it's interesting that the tip, which is actually just part of the blade, gets its own designation, its own name, and the throat, which is really just the shaft, also gets its a special designation. And the reason is that they actually are treated differently, and they get a different sort of attention when you're talking about paddles. So for example, there's the shaft, but the throat is different in many ways. First of all, it's often shaped differently. Whereas the shaft is often round, the throat is very often oval to fit your hand better, just for better comfort. Round is pretty comfortable, but it's even more comfortable if you have it oval. Plus, oftentimes you're told to grip, depending on the type of paddle you're using, like a bent shaft, you are told to grip just kind of above the throat. So it's good to designate this area as a point of reference anyway, all right? And then as you get down to the tip, why is the tip called the tip? Why isn't it just the blade or the bottom of the blade? Well, that's because the tip is often needed for all kinds of things that you don't use your blade for, and it wears away, kind of like when you're in shallow water, you're pushing away from rocks, or you're hitting a tree or something like that, or even just from sand. It'll wear away and it'll start to fray, especially if it's a softwood paddle like this one. And so you need to treat it more, and often there's a tip guard on there, like a special epoxy resin put on there by the manufacturer to protect the tip. So you kind of want to know what the tip is, because it does get treated differently and it gets special attention very often. All right, guys, so that's what it is. There's the grip, the shaft, the throat, the two shoulders, or the shoulder of the paddle, the blade, and the tip. There is your paddle intelligence for the day. All right, thanks for watching. We will see you next time. And until then, enjoy God's creation, folks. Keep on looking up.